Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I am Sarifat Ali, and the today's topic is kinematics. So there are three different stages. I consider three different stages, three different parts, and we are starting the initial part, kinematics part 1. Okay, first of all, now we have to discuss what is the kinematics. Simply kinematics. The word kinematics have two different meanings. Number one, kinetics, which means motion, and the matics come from matria, which means measurement. So in kinematics, we will study about measurement of motion along with different characteristic of motion as well, but without knowing the cause of motion, we will not discuss why it happens. So without knowing the cause of motion, we will discuss about the measurement and characteristic of motion. Okay, now if we will talk about motion. So what is the motion first of all? And we know in comparison we can discuss a topic better in a better way. So motion meaning to say we are talking about states, different states of an object, state of motion, state of rest. So when we talk about the state of motion, it means an object is continuously changes its position with respect to surrounding. Or we say if an object is changing its position with respect to surrounding, then it is said to be in the state of motion. Okay, so the change in position, an object is changing its position. So the main word is position. So change in position responsible for state of motion. And kinematics, we will study about it. Okay, now we'll start the topic kinematics from the very initial word, that is point. Listen, first of all, we will talk about point. What is the definition of a point? A point is something that describes position with respect to reference lines or a reference point. Okay, point is something that describes position. Point is something that describes position. Listen, point is something that describes position with respect to reference lines, or one can say reference point as well. For example, polar coordinate in higher classes we will discuss. Okay, now right now point is something that describes position with respect to reference lines. Okay, what does reference line means? Oh, we have to consider a coordinate system. We should consider coordinate system. Coordinate system, there are two types of coordinate system. Number one, rectangular coordinate system or parallelogram coordinate system. But I think we are well known about the rectangular coordinate system. Like this. This is our rectangular coordinate system. So a system generated by two mutually perpendicular lines is a rectangular coordinate system. So if I consider a point over here, this is 3, 2. What does it mean? From the origin, one is covered 3 units along x-axis and 2 units along y-axis. So it means with respect to these reference lines, we can clear the position of a particle or of an object. So 3, 2 is a point. 3, 2 is a point. It describes the position in some rectangular coordinate system. Okay, so point is something that describes position with respect to reference lines. Okay, now if this point is moving, there must be change in position. If it is moving, there must be change in position. Okay, So we have cleared first of all what is a point. So if we have a clear concept about the position, then we will be able to explain what is the change in position. And if we discuss on changing position, it means we are moving towards the right way. Kinematics, measurement of motion. So there must be a change in position. Okay, this is the first one point. Point is something that describes position with respect to reference lines. Now, the second point, second topic is distance. Okay, now easily I can clear the definition, I can clear the concept of distance. Okay, so point for position and change in position in any direction, this is distance. So it means I consider 2 points, point A moving in this way and this is point B. So it means there is a difference between point A and B. If we consider this difference in any direction, then this is distance. In a very simple words, change in position in any direction or the difference between 2 points is called distance. Okay, so I'm writing over here the difference between 2 points in any direction. The difference between 2 points in any direction is called distance. This is the definition of distance. And it is very clear that point shows the position and the difference between 2 points, we consider two different positions. If we consider two different positions, then the difference between them in no specific direction. This is distance. Okay, this is the first point. What is the distance? The difference between 2 points in any direction. Okay, how we will measure distance? We measure distance using different objects, different apparatus. For example, distance measured by using meter rule, half meter rule, measuring tape. We can also measure the difference between 2 points in some specific cases, and we use for this way screw gauge, micrometer screw gauge, or vernier caliper, or turntable wheel. So there are so many devices to measure the distance. But within syllabus we consider meter rule, half meter rule, measuring tape we use for measuring distance. In higher level we can use different torch or X-rays or different types of rays. So rays will reflect from one surface. So we will count the time duration to move or to reach at a specific point and then come back and receive. And by making some calculation, we can reach it. The distance between two long way distance between two objects that are very far apart. For example, what is the distance between planet Earth and Moon? The distance between planet Earth and some other planets. So we can measure in this way. But right now, distance, the difference between 2 points in any direction, and what we use to measure the distance, we use meter rule, half meter rule, measuring tape, etc. I did not consider micrometer, screw gauge or vernier caliper, right? So we will work on this topic in the section of fundamental base units, right? Or the topic measurement and units. Now, right now, kinematics. So about distance, difference between 2 points in any direction, the things we use, meter rule, half meter rule, measuring tape, and about the SI unit. The unit of distance, SI unit of distance is meter. SI unit of distance is meter. And the symbol we use small m. Now next thing is that distance completely described by mentioning magnitude with proper unit. There is no need of direction. So it means the physical quantity distance is a scalar quantity. Scalar meaning to say no need of direction. So what we have written over here, the difference between 2 points in any direction. So no specific direction is required. So it is a scalar quantity. It is a scalar quantity about distance. So distance, difference between 2 points in any direction. Meter rule, half meter rule, measuring tape we use for the measurement. SI unit of distance is meter and the symbol is small m. Scalar quantity, the nature of quantity, it is a scalar quantity and only can be described by mentioning magnitude and proper unit. Okay, now listen. Point, difference between 2 point distance, and the next one is displacement. Okay, what is the difference between distance and displacement? Okay, now consider displacement. It is also a distance, but the shortest distance is displacement. Okay, I consider 2 point, point A, and like this is point B. Now the difference between these two positions is distance in different direction. Over here the direction like this, over here the direction like this, over here the direction like this. So it means there is no specific direction. But if we are moving in some specific direction towards the destination, so it must be the shortest distance. Okay, now consider where this one. No change in direction, in specific direction. So this one is displacement. So simple definition of displacement. What would be the simple definition of displacement? The difference between 2 points in some specific direction. This is the definition of displacement. Okay, so I am writing over here the difference between 2 points in specific direction. Okay, this is the first one. What is the definition of displacement? The difference between 2 points in a specific direction. Okay, it is displacement, and we can write also what the shortest distance is called displacement. But I think by using the fundamental words, what change in position. So there must be a difference in points. So the difference between 2 points in some specific direction, this is called displacement. Okay, now about the measurement of displacement. Use meter rule, half meter rule, measuring tape. Okay. Now SI unit of distance is meter. The same thing is over here. The SI unit of displacement is meter. Okay. It is a scalar quantity. Direction is not compulsory in case of distance. But over here, in some specific direction. So the next point is It is a vector quantity. It is a vector quantity. Okay, it means a quantity that needs direction in space along with magnitude and proper unit, or a physical quantity that requires specific direction for complete description. This is a vector quantity. So displacement is a vector quantity. But listen, the scalar of displacement is distance. If we talk about only magnitude with proper unit, there is no difference. Both have a magnitude, both have a proper unit. Okay, but specific direction displacement, any direction distance. So point, then distance, then displacement. Okay, now in this way what happened? If you define these terms with respect to position, this is the main object of kinematics. So it means in higher stages, higher level, you will never be disturbed by a teacher. So with respect to position, we always define these three terms. Okay, now the next one is speed. Okay, if we consider the difference between two positions in any direction, so how much time is required to change position of an object from first point to another point? So it means we consider different things with respect to time. With respect to time, if we consider different physical quantities with respect to time, we always use the word rate, right? Rate does not only for with respect to time. Oh, with respect to money, this is the rate. And there are so many words in our common life. They use the word rate. But listen, in physics, if we talk about the rate, it means we are talking in comparison of time, with respect to time. Uh, the work is done. How much time required? Power, right? The transformation of energy. How much time required to complete this process? Power. So when we discuss changing position, how much time required to change the position? This is rate of changing position, and this rate of changing position is called speed. Okay, now I consider a new physical quantity, that is speed. And the definition in the most simplest word is rate of changing position. Rate of changing positions. So the change in position in a unit time is called speed. Change in position in a unit time is called speed, or simply rate of changing position. This is called speed. So it means speed can be written as in a mathematical form. Speed is equal to change in position divided by time duration required. Okay, now changing position in a specific direction or in any direction. Yeah, so it means on the basis of changing position in some specific direction and in any direction, there must be two different words, two different physical quantity. One is speed, other one would be velocity. So speed, rate of changing position in any direction. Rate of changing position in any direction. Rate of changing position in any direction. This is called speed. And the formula for speed, change in position divided by time duration. This is speed. Change in position divided by time duration. So in different boards, we use different terminology. But over here in GCE and IGCSE, we use speed is equal to change in position. Change in position meaning to say distance covered, or change in position upon time duration. Or we can write down like this. Speed equal to s upon t. Right? Speed equal to distance upon time. Distance covered in a unit time. And what would be its SI unit? Okay, about SI unit. Make some calculation to draw, to consider derive unit. To consider drive unit. So the unit of speed is not the fundamental or the basic unit. Basic or fundamental are those units which are assigned by the scientist and free from any type of calculation. But over here, if we consider a unit in SI system by the process of simple multiplication and division, this would be derived unit. Okay, now the SI unit of speed, SI unit of speed is equal to, okay, what is the SI unit of distance covered? Meter. What is the SI unit of time duration? Second. Or we can write down meter per second like this. If a number is shifted from denominator to numerator, there must be a change in sign. There must be a change in sign. So this is plus 1. When come over here, minus 1. So we can write down SI unit like this. Meter per second or meter per second. This is the SI unit of speed. This is the SI unit of speed. Furthermore, if for speed, changing position in any direction. So any direction meaning to say speed is also a scalar quantity. Speed is a scalar quantity. The first point, what is the definition? Second point, how we can write down in word equation. This is the second point. Third point, what is the mathematical formula to solve the problem? And next one, what is the SI unit of speed? We will discuss. Distance time graph, displacement time graph, speed time graph, and velocity time graph. In the second stage, this is the part 1, kinematic part 1. Okay, the last from after speed, velocity. In comparison of this speed, we can easily discuss velocity. The only difference, if you remember, you can learn by heart both the definition as we have done in distance and displacement. Okay, now this is velocity. Okay, rate of changing position in any direction. Over here you must write down what? Rate of changing position in specific direction. Okay, it is also a rate of changing position. It is a rate of changing position. But in any direction, we consider speed as a scalar quantity. Over here, velocity, rate of changing position in specific direction. So the only change, only difference is the direction. If there is a direction, then it is velocity. And the magnitude of velocity, meaning to say, we do not consider direction, but we are talking about velocity. So the magnitude of velocity is speed. The magnitude of velocity is speed. When a direction is given to the speed, it becomes velocity. Then it becomes velocity. Okay, now what would be the formula? Formula, we are not talking about vector form. Just formula just to find out the magnitude. The same formula we use. We use the same formula. What? Velocity is equal to change in position upon time duration. And the velocity is equal to s upon t. And the SI unit of velocity meter per second. Okay. The only difference between two is it is scalar. It is vector. It is scalar. It is vector. Velocity is a vector. Velocity is a vector. Speed is a scalar. So just there is a difference of specific direction. No other thing. Okay. Now this is part 1. This is part 1. Kinematics part 1. And we define only 4 terms. What? Number 1, point. After, when we discuss on point, we have a clear concept. What is a position? Right? And the change in position, meaning to say the difference between 2 points. Changing position meaning to say difference between 2 points. If there is a difference, then we have to consider difference is in a specific direction or into 2 or 3 directions. When it is in any direction, we consider distance. So it means if there is a question, what is the definition of distance? Think, is there any definition in the book? Or your teacher have done something? You have written something? What is the definition of distance? So listen, you have to keep in your mind. There must be some specific explanation for each and every physical quantity. So distance meaning to say the difference between 2 points. There should not be any definition in which we use the word whatever we are defining. So we are defining distance and use the word distance. No. So distance is the difference between 2 points, and if you have a clear concept, point meaning to say position with respect to reference line, then we can work easily. And listen, this topic will lead you in mathematics coordinate geometry as well, in kinematics chapter of additional mathematics as well. Okay, so this is the basic things. You must have specific knowledge, you must have sound knowledge about these 4 terms: point, distance, displacement, speed and velocity. Right? So point is not considered over here, so I consider 4 terms, but all 4 based on point. Okay, inshallah we'll meet again. If you like it,